Live from the KFOX 14 studios in El Paso and Las Cruces, this is KFOX 14 News at 5.
The director of an anger management program says she believes El Paso's justice system has blood on its hands after a brutal stabbing that killed a mother of 3. Good evening, I'm John Purvis.
And I'm Erica Castillo. First on Fox this evening, Laura Lopez is the director of Alcohol, Drug, and Education Services. She claims the program accused killer Jesse Vasquez attended just hours before police say he killed his ex-girlfriend simply doesn't work. KFOX 14 News at 5's Bill Malugin spoke to her about the allegations. He's live in downtown El Paso.
Well, Jesse Vasquez is still locked up here at the El Paso County Jail for allegedly stabbing his ex-girlfriend to death. And the woman we spoke with today says officials need to be held accountable for sending him to an anger management program that she says clearly didn't work. As we just mentioned, Laura Lopez is the director of Alcohol, Drug, and Education Services, one of 2 programs approved by county commissioners to provide anger management classes. As we told you yesterday at 5, before Vasquez allegedly killed Miriam Aguirre, he was ordered to participate in an anger management program because of an aggravated assault charge. But Lopez tells me he chose a program at an agency called the Hope Family Wellness Center, a one-day program held at a high school. Lopez claims that the program never put in a bid to the county commissioners and says the program doesn't adhere to the qualifications needed to be approved. That's why she says the people responsible for allowing the class to be an option are to blame for the alleged attack.
I think the blood that this woman shed is on their hands because they're responsible for sending him to a one-day class, which was not enough, obviously.
Well, I was able to get in touch with someone from the Hope and Family Wellness Center, and they told me that their official anger management program is actually 16 weeks long for a cost of $300, but they do offer a one-day class at a high school for general misdemeanors. I was also able to get in touch with the woman who was put in charge of approving the bids for these anger management programs, and she says she's concerned about that one-day program and that she's going to have to look into it. More of her response tonight at 9 p.m. Reporting live in downtown El Paso, Bill Malugin, KFOX 14 News at 5.
A jury finds the man accused of stabbing his estranged wife to death outside her Northeast El Paso beauty salon guilty of murder. Brian Ingleton killed Deidre Ingleton just weeks after she filed for divorce, violating protective orders she had filed. A packed courtroom filled with friends and the family of Deidre heard the guilty verdict just a few hours ago. In 25 minutes, KFOX 14 News at 5's Genevieve Curtis will tell you what's next for the convicted killer.
We're learning new information about a shooting in Las Cruces that led to the arrest of a cab driver. In court documents, Darren Henry says he shot his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend because he thought the man was approaching him with a metal pipe. As we reported, Henry drove to his ex's home Friday night to confront the couple. Police say he shot the victim in the pelvis before driving off in his cab. Henry is charged with aggravated battery and assault with a deadly weapon. New from overnight, an elderly man is in serious condition after being hit by a taxi cab in East El Paso. It happened near the intersection of McRae and Wedgwood just before 8 last night. Police say the 73-year-old man was not in a crosswalk. Witnesses say the man was nearly on the median when he was hit, but the driver couldn't see him.
We do recommend for individuals to cross at intersections. If there are crosswalks available, use those crosswalks. Never assume that a vehicle has seen you.
Even though the man's injuries were considered serious, he is expected to recover. The taxi driver will not face charges.
Juarez police arrest 7 people in connection with 2 violent killings over the weekend. 3 men and 2 women, all in their 20s, are accused of shooting a man during a home robbery Saturday morning. Meanwhile, on Friday, police say they found 2 boys, ages 13 and 14, inside a barber shop, where they also found a man stabbed to death. Juarez police say the boys told them they killed the man following an argument.
From our exclusive Washington Bureau, a Newtown father makes an emotional appeal to lawmakers during a hearing on gun control in Washington today. Neil Heslin is pleading for a federal ban on military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. His 6-year-old son, Jesse Lewis, was one of the 20 children killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut.
He was the only family I had left. It's hard for me to be here today talking about my deceased son. I have to. I miss voice.
California Senator Dianne Feinstein has written a bill outlawing 157 guns and magazines holding more than 10 rounds. Republicans at the hearing questioned the ban's constitutionality and effectiveness. The Department of Homeland Security denies a report that an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials is leaving the agency amid scrutiny over its release of several hundred undocumented immigrants. ICE says Gary Mead, the Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations, is actually retiring and made the announcement several weeks ago. As we reported to you yesterday, ICE says the release of several illegal immigrant detainees is a cost-cutting measure being blamed on looming budget cuts.
Twitter gets hundreds of tweets from El Paso with the hashtag Justin Sing for Jacqueline. Friends of the teen who lost her battle to a blood disease 1 week ago want the pop sensation to sing a song in her honor. KFOX 14 News advisor Veronica Macias talks to Jackie's father. She's live in Horizon City.
Well, Jacqueline Trejo attended her junior year here at Eastlake High School. Her health condition kept her homeschooled for a while, but it was here and at Horizon Middle that she made some wonderful friends who are now trying to do something for the girl they say is crazy or was crazy about Justin Bieber. Now, here's a picture that we shared with you last night. And on Monday night, her friends took to Twitter to get the pop sensation's attention. Within some hours, it went national. Friends say whenever a Justin Bieber song came on the radio, she went crazy, especially with his Baby song. Her room is painted purple because it's his favorite color, and like a true fan, she circled his birthday on her calendar. I spoke with Jackie's dad today, who is still in Laredo, where they're wrapping up the 16-year-old funeral services. Now, he tells me it feels so good to know that so many friends cared about her. He also wants people to remember her not only as a big Justin fan, but as a fighter.
My daughter was extremely brave. She was brave and a fighter and beautiful. My daughter, in over a year, and all the times that she was hospitalized and the times that she got poked and prodded and she was in pain, and she didn't get to go to school, she didn't get to go to a lot of places.
Tonight at 9, hear from close friends of Jackie who started it all on Twitter and why they say they're so optimistic to hear back from the pop star for Jackie. Reporting live in Horizon, Veronica Macias, KFOX 14 News at 5.
The El Paso School District Board of Trustees appoint new principals at 2 schools. Aiden Lopez is the new principal at Huey Elementary School, and Dr. Carolyn Legoreta is the new leader at Andress High School. You may remember Andress was a part of the district's former Priority Schools Division, which now imprisoned former Superintendent Lorenzo Garcia created to improve poor standardized test scores. Legoreta and Lopez start their new jobs immediately.
The deadline to get on the City of El Paso's May election ballot is the day after tomorrow, Friday. Candidates who want to run for mayor, city council, or municipal judge have until 5 Friday evening to file their candidacies. The city clerk's office will be open to help anyone who's filing. Candidates are asked to enter El Paso City Hall through the basement entrance.
Dropping out of school in New Mexico could start having consequences sooner rather than later. State lawmakers are considering a bill that would require students to do an exit interview before dropping out. Students would have to sign paperwork saying they understand the financial consequences of quitting school. And if they just drop out without the interview, they could risk being denied a driver's license, something a lot of teenagers look forward to.
There's no consequence to students when they're truant. All the consequences are on the parent. And so a lot of parents are saying, you know, what do we do? How do we keep our kids in school? And so this is a way for the parents with the district to work together.
The changes made by the bill would only allow withdrawal from school due to the student's financial hardship, illness, or if there is a court order that has jurisdiction over the student.
A busy job center in East El Paso has closed its doors. This past weekend, Workforce Solutions Upper Rio Grande closed down its career center on Loma Land. Workforce Solutions CEO says they've simply outgrown the Loma Land office they've used for the past 12 years and have found a new place that provides room to grow.
The location is on 8825 North Loop. It's a center that offers the potential for us to expand.
Reyes says the new Career Center on North Loop also provides more parking space for customers.
It definitely got cooler out there today. Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz is in our KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center with your first look at weather to let us know how long this cooler air is going to stick around.
Oh, it's going to stick around at least for about another day or so, and then we'll start to see those temperatures warming up nicely. Let's go straight to our current conditions at the airport. It's 53 degrees right now with calm winds, but we do have mostly cloudy skies. And in Las Cruces, a little cooler here with calm winds at 49 degrees. But it is going to be another cold night as temperatures dip below freezing again for both El Paso and the city of Crosses. But there will be some much warmer temperatures in time for the weekend. I'll have that for you still ahead.
Back in the headlines, the woman known as Tan Mom and a grand jury's decision in her child endangerment case.
Young adults don't have much debt. Why experts say that's not always a good thing.
Learn how you may get the chance to take a cruise aboard the Titanic, minus the sinking part.
The first bishop in Las Cruces retires after 3 decades. What he says was his most difficult issue as a religious leader in the borderlands. Coming up next on KFOX 14, News at 5. Coverage you can count on.
A final farewell today as Pope Benedict XVI makes his last general audience address to a crowd of thousands. Tens of thousands packed the square outside St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City to say goodbye to Pope Benedict. Many in the crowd waved signs and banners with messages of thanks. The Pope spoke about the challenges he faced as head of the Catholic Church for nearly 8 years.
Loving the church also means to have the courage to make difficult and arduous choices, having always in front of us the good of the church and not ourselves.
The Pope's last official day is tomorrow. On his final day as pontiff, he will meet with Catholic cardinals one last time before he is taken by helicopter to his home just outside of Rome. He will stay there while work on a monastery within the Vatican grounds is finished later this spring. Meantime, cardinals from all over the world are arriving in Rome today. 115 cardinals, those under age 80, will vote in the upcoming conclave during which the next pope will be elected. A date for the vote will be set on Monday. As we reported to you, Pope Benedict approved revisions to Vatican law, which will allow the cardinals to vote sooner. The Vatican hopes to have a new pope in place by Easter.
Police are looking for 2 people in connection with a deadly shooting and crash on the Las Vegas Strip. The man on the left is the alleged shooter, while police call the woman on the right a person of interest because she was reportedly in the vehicle at the time of the shooting. Police say last Thursday the suspect shot an aspiring rapper as he drove his Maserati down the Vegas Strip. His car then hit a taxi, which burst into flames. The cab driver, his passenger, and the driver of the sports car were all killed. Authorities are offering a $35,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest.
A New Jersey mother accused of letting her young daughter tan will not face child endangerment charges. A grand jury has decided not to charge the woman with a crime. As we reported to you, school officials tipped off police last year when they noticed burns on the 5-year-old girl's legs. The girl reportedly told the school nurse she got the burns from tanning with her mom at a tanning salon.
My daughter never tanned. Are you square? I like to tan. I don't think that's a crime, and I'm still gonna tan.
The woman has been banned from tanning at several businesses in both New Jersey and New York.
A Southeast Texas school board bans high school cheerleaders from displaying Bible quotes on banners during sporting events. The controversy started last fall when cheerleaders painted Christian scripture on signs for their football team. A Wisconsin-based group filed a lawsuit saying it violates the rights of students who have other beliefs.
If next year a Muslim student or a Hindu student, a Buddhist student makes the cheerleading team, is she going to be forced to hold up a religious banner, or is she going to get kicked off for not agreeing with it? I mean, where do you draw the line?
The Texas Attorney General argues the ban violates the students' right to free speech.
In your Health Watch this evening, chemicals used to treat drinking water could lead to health problems. An environmental working group found toxic chemicals known as trihalomethanes in every large water system in the United States. The chemicals are reportedly produced in the process of cleaning tap water. The chemicals can increase the risk of bladder cancer, birth defects, and miscarriages. More women under 40 are being diagnosed with advanced breast cancer. The number of American women ages 25 to 39 with advanced cases climbed 2% every year since the 70s. This is concerning because young women's tumors are likely to be more aggressive than older women's. Also, younger women are less likely to have health insurance or get routine screening for the disease.
Your Consumer Watch now. Young adults are in less debt than they were a decade ago, but that's not a good thing. Adults under 35 have more student loan debt, but less exposure to credit card, car, and home loan debts. Economists say that's because many young adults are now broke and simply cannot take on a mortgage or a car loan. Experts blame the declining debt on the nation's weak job market. Twinkies and Wonder Bread are one step closer to making a comeback. Hostess Brands has accepted a $360 million bid by Flower Foods. Hostess products have not been produced since the company filed for bankruptcy in November. The deal still has to be approved by a bankruptcy judge and regulators before it's finalized.
Wow, what a gorgeous day we had today. We had those lighter winds, but it was a little on the cooler side. There's really nothing much to talk about when it comes to any type of precipitation anywhere nearby, but we do have some high-level clouds that are moving in, and they are giving us partly to mostly cloudy skies, but they're not going to produce any rain. In fact, they'll clear out as we head in towards the overnight hours. Current winds, though, not bad. We even have calm winds right now at the airport in El Paso, 3-mile-per-hour winds in Las Cruces, as well as in TRC. You can see those light winds with cooler temperatures outside, though. It's 49 right now in Las Cruces, 53 in El Paso, 52 in Deming, and 48 in TRC. So we were certainly about 10 degrees colder today than yesterday, but that was expected, right, with that cold front that came through yesterday. So we're in for a cold night tonight. As you make your way out tonight, if you're going to be out, make sure you're wearing something that'll keep you warm, or if you're heading out in the morning, it will be a very cold start again with temperatures overnight dropping to below freezing. But dressing in layers might not hurt, because by the afternoon, sunshine returns and we're in for a slightly warmer day tomorrow, but it will still feel a bit on the cool side. So here's what it looks like. You can see temperatures tonight dropping to the upper 20s, near 30 as you head your way towards the eastern areas of El Paso, and then mid-50s tomorrow afternoon. And if you head northward, Chaparral, 27 degrees, 26 tonight in White Sands. Look for highs tomorrow in the lower to mid-50s. 25 in Anthony tonight, 29 in Sunland Park with highs tomorrow also in the mid-50s and lots of sunshine. So your forecast tonight, 30 degrees for El Paso with northeast winds to 10 miles per hour. Highs tomorrow climbing to the mid-50s. North winds only 5 to 10 miles per hour. So it'll still feel a little on the cool side. That is a cool air mass. 26 for us tonight in the city of Crosses, and then tomorrow look for those highs in the lower to mid-50s. Looking at the next couple of days, you'll see that not much is changing with the exception of maybe a few afternoon breezes coming into the play here for your Friday afternoon, but really no strong winds to worry about. We're talking about temperatures still in the 50s, mid to upper 50s, and those overnight temperatures still pretty cold. The bottom line, folks, is it's going to be a very cold night tonight, but we do have a warmer weekend ahead of us, and unfortunately, beyond that, we do have some stronger winds as well. I'll show you that in your 5-day forecast with the weekend always in view.
Looking for immunity, how the El Paso ISD cheating scandal is being used to help protect whistleblowers.
From New York to LA on 1 gallon of gas, how the gas-saving car of the future could drive out of UTEP. Next on KFOX 14 News at 5, coverage you can count on. Imagine a vehicle that gets more than 2,000 miles per gallon. Well, UTEP mechanical engineering students are doing more than just imagining it. They are designing a fuel-efficient vehicle that can take you from Los Angeles to New York on 1 gallon of gas. Their car will compete next month in the Shell Eco Marathon in Houston.
Well, it gives engineering students a hands-on opportunity to apply what we've learned in the classroom to actually, like looking at the bigger picture. The world faces a very big energy challenge, and it just gives us an opportunity to give back to our community.
It's a one-cylinder car?
The UTEP students hope to beat last year's winner, a vehicle that hit a best run of 2,188 miles per gallon. Workforce Solutions Upper Rio Grande will host a two-day job fair starting Friday. Those who'd like to work with Hewlett-Packard should spruce up their resumes. The company is looking to hire dozens of people for various positions. The fair on Friday is at 7730 Market Center Avenue from 9 a.m. until 3 in the afternoon, then again on Saturday from 9 until noon.
If you've always wished you could sail on the Titanic without the sinking part, well, here's your chance. An Australian billionaire is building a replica of the original luxurious ocean liner. The Titanic, too, will follow the same path as its namesake from Southampton, England to New York City. It will also have the same interior and cabin layout as the original. The big changes, as you can imagine, will be in the form of safety measures.
I can assure you that from the safety point of view, it will be absolutely the most safe cruise ship in the world when it's been launched.
Palmer says there's already big interest, with some people reportedly offering to pay up to $1 million per cabin. Titanic 2 is expected to set sail in 2016.
All right, here's a look at your 5-day forecast with the weekend always in view, and you'll see that things are looking pretty nice overall. We are expecting temperatures to gradually warm. We'll get a few afternoon breezes on Friday, but look at the weekend. Looking much warmer by Sunday with a high near 70, a little breezy during the day, and then stronger winds on Monday next week with temperatures warming to the mid-70s and wind gusts near 40. We may see some patchy blowing sand and dust. Winds come down but remain breezy on Tuesday as we stay in the 70s through the middle of next week. John?
Straight ahead on KFOX 14 News at 5.
After decades as the religious leader of the borderlands, the Bishop of Las Cruces is retiring tonight. The message he wants to get out to all his parishioners. Coming up.
A man accused of stabbing his wife to death, found guilty of her murder. The punishment he now faces next on KFOX 14 News at 5. Coverage you can count on.
A man accused of murder learns his fate. A jury this afternoon convicts Brian Ingleton of stabbing his estranged wife, Deidre Ingleton, to death outside her Northeast El Paso beauty salon in 2011. KFOX 14 News at 5's Genevieve Curtis was in the courtroom. She's live via Skype in downtown El Paso.
Judge Maria Salas Mendoza read the verdict in front of a packed courtroom filled with Deirdre Ingleton's friends and family and those who worked the case. After a year and a half, the guilty verdict was exactly what they expected to hear.
We, the jury, find the defendant Brian Anthony Ingleton guilty of murder as charged in the indictment signed by the presiding juror.
Ingleton killed Deirdre Ingleton just weeks after she filed for divorce, violating the protective orders she had against him. Brian stabbed her more than 30 times and severed the jugular vein in her neck. Friends of Deirdre described Brian Ingleton during their marriage as controlling and could be abusive. He admitted to police he put a GPS on her phone and in her car. The defense argued it was Deirdre's military boyfriend, whom she was having an affair with, that killed her, but there was never any evidence to prove that. The prosecution's case included eyewitnesses and a fairly obvious confession from Ingleton made to the media after his arrest. In the closing arguments, the state used Brian Ingleton's own words against him. Prosecutor Jennifer Vanden Bosch told the jury he told police it wasn't necessary. She said it wasn't necessary. It wasn't, as she laid out photos of Deirdre. Now, the trial is now in the sentencing phase. Brian faces between 5 and 99 years in prison. Now, we are aware that he just had another outburst in court. He had to be removed from the courtroom. He returned in handcuffs. Now, tonight on KFOX 14 News at 9, you will hear from those who knew and loved Deirdre Ingleton most of all. Reporting live in downtown El Paso, Genevieve Curtis, KFOX 14 News at 5.
A man who's already pleaded guilty to his role in a murder continues his testimony today against an alleged partner in crime. Michael Jackson Apodaca spends another day on the stand today at the El Paso County Courthouse. He is testifying how Gerardo Gracia Jr. allegedly played a role in the May 2009 murder of Jose Daniel Gonzalez Galeana. Gonzalez Galeana was a mid-level member of a Juarez drug cartel targeted for murder by the cartel because it was believed he had become a government informant. He was shot outside his wife's home in East El Paso.
A Chaparral family loses all they have when their home explodes. The explosion and fire that followed killed one man yesterday evening. 2 other family members tried to get him out of the burning house, but the flames were just too intense, and they're now being treated for burns to their arms. The victim's nephew says it all apparently started with an electrical short.
My uncle, he was on oxygen, and somehow it tracked, and the whole house exploded because of the oxygen bottles exploding.
He says the house is a total loss, and his cousins lost everything they have in the explosion.
Las Cruces police arrest 2 brothers accused of attacking 2 officers. Rafael and Israel Torres were arrested Sunday walking away from the scene of a domestic disturbance. Rafael allegedly tried running away. 1 officer chased him down. Israel reportedly started punching the officer and was tased. Rafael then allegedly attacked another officer on the scene as well. Both officers are okay, suffering only bumps and bruises. A local ex-beauty queen postpones her day in court. Sarah Richardson is the former Miss Las Cruces. She resigned her crown 3 days after her arrest for this crash in West Las Cruces last December. Richardson is believed to have been drinking the night she hit the light pole, knocking it down onto nearby cars. Magistrate Court granted a continuance in the case. Richardson awaits a decision by the State Motor Vehicle Division that still has to decide if it will revoke her driver's license.
El Paso County Sheriff's deputies catch an alleged deadbeat dad. They say they arrested Michael Caballero late last night after he led them on a quarter-mile foot chase. Now he's charged not only with failure to pay child support, but evading arrest as well. Authorities are still trying to track down the parents of a baby they found alive in a shopping bag with her umbilical cord still attached. As KFOX14 reported, they made the discovery outside a Houston apartment complex. Police want to track down the mother who abandoned the baby before putting her up for adoption.
We want to see if there are any relatives out there, parents who would be willing to raise her, but also to just get more information about the baby.
The 4-pound, 12-ounce girl named Chloe by medical staff remains hospitalized.
A little cooler today than yesterday. Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz tells us what that means for this evening. She's in our KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center.
Well, that means we're in for a very cold night once again. Take a look at temperatures outside right now. In El Paso at the airport, it's 53 degrees. We do have calm winds, though, so that is in our favor. As far as Las Cruces, we have light winds here with temperatures in the upper 40s. We're dropping to below freezing again tonight. 30 degrees is the expected overnight low in El Paso with those lighter winds, and in Las Cruces, mid-20s with northeast winds to 10 miles per hour. But looking ahead at the weekend, things are warming up for the borderland. I'll let you know which day will be the warmest still ahead.
The leader of the Catholic Diocese in Las Cruces, Bishop Ricardo Ramirez, is saying his final prayer as a religious leader of southern New Mexico tonight. KFOX 14 News at 5's Jeff Tyler spoke to the bishop about what the years have meant to him. The story from our exclusive Las Cruces Bureau.
Bishop Ricardo Ramirez will say his last formal prayer tonight at 7 here at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. It will be his last official act as a bishop. He's retiring after 46 years of serving the Catholic Church, including 30 years as the church's first ever Las Cruces bishop. He says integrating parts of El Paso and southern New Mexico's Catholic communities together is one of the harder tasks he's had to do.
The people of southern New Mexico are people of deep faith, and so that has made it easy. I haven't had to convince them of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I brought Jesus with me, and I met Jesus. He was already here.
The son of a migrant worker, Ramirez says it's been important to integrate Spanish and American cultures together to make religion in the area bilingual, much like his own life. He says he's grown to love the area, and after more than 3 decades of speaking out as the area's religious leader, he has one last thing to say.
I thank you for your support, for your love, and also for following the leadership that I have tried to provide. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'll be seeing you around, but as the bishop of the diocese, I say goodbye.
The bishop says that he will continue to live and offer support to Catholicism in Las Cruces. Reporting from our exclusive Las Cruces Bureau, Jeff Tyler, KFOX 14 News at 5.
Bishop Ramirez's replacement, the Reverend Oscar Cantu, will be installed as Bishop of the Las Cruces Diocese tomorrow. That ceremony starts at 2 p.m. at the Las Cruces Convention Center. The event is being broadcast live on the Global Catholic Television Network.
Texas lawmakers filed bills that were inspired by the El Paso School District's cheating scandal. KFOX 14's media partner, the El Paso Times, reports local state representative Marissa Marquez submitted a bill yesterday that would make it easier for the Texas Education Agency to investigate school districts accused of cheating on state accountability measures. EPISD's former superintendent Lorenzo Garcia is now in federal prison after he pled guilty to charges he masterminded a scheme to cheat the state testing system. Meanwhile, El Paso State Senator Jose Rodriguez has submitted a bill that would better protect whistleblowers and allow victims of retaliation to sue school districts. You can learn why Rodriguez's bill has less of a chance of passing than Marquez's in today's edition of the El Paso Times. Chuck Hagel arrived at the Pentagon this morning for his first day on the job as the nation's defense secretary. Hagel was sworn in this morning and faces an immediate challenge in his new position. The military faces big budget cuts if sequestration takes effect on Friday. By a vote of 58 to 41 yesterday, the U.S. Senate confirmed Hagel's nomination after a tough confirmation battle.
The U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments about the Voting Rights Act today. KFOX 14's exclusive Washington bureau is there as supporters of the law rallied in front of the court. Inside, justices considered whether some states, including Texas, should have to get federal approval before making any changes to voting procedures. The federal law was passed in 1965 to keep southern states from discriminating against black voters. A civil rights icon and Congressman John Lewis say those protections need to stay in place.
Some people like to point to the fact that we have minorities in the Congress, that we have an African-American president.
Legal observers expect the court to overturn part of the Voting Rights Act in June.
The man in charge of emergency services at Fort Bliss has a new job, where he'll now serve, and who's replacing him?
I came into work. He was already there, pretty much hammered.
A bartender doesn't let a customer leave without calling police. The price she pays for her good deed.
A plastic bag ban gets blocked. Learn who may succeed in permanently derailing the bag ban and why.
And what makes this cave so special? The reason why turns out to be in the tens of millions. Next on KFOX 14 News at 5, coverage you can count on. An ancient, dank, dark cave is credited with keeping southeastern New Mexico in the green. A report reveals tourists at Carlsbad Caverns National Park spent $20 million in Carlsbad and the communities around the park, and that was just in 2011 alone. The caverns alone supported 300 jobs in the local area. The National Park Service report was created to see where and how national park visitors spend their money at parks nationwide.
A distracted driver hits a school bus in far east El Paso County. Sheriff's deputies say it happened yesterday afternoon when a pickup truck hit a loaded Clint ISD school bus. Witnesses say the driver failed to see the bus with its lights flashing as it stopped to let off passengers. None of the 53 students on board were hurt. Deputies did cite the pickup driver.
A bartender says she was fired after she called police about a drunk driver. The woman was working at an American Legion post in Ohio. She says the patron was already drunk when she started her shift, and when he left, she called police. Police arrested him behind the wheel. He blew a .167, more than twice the legal blood alcohol limit. But instead of being praised by her boss, the bartender got fired.
He said, "I'm going to have to fire you because it's bad for business to have a bartender that will call the cops."
The commander of the American Legion post didn't comment on camera, but says the bartender did the right thing morally. She just didn't do the right thing for business. When Hurricane Isaac hit last year, many Louisiana residents lost their homes, but nearly 200 others lost their eternal resting places. Floodwaters removed the caskets from their grave sites. But now, using everything from written records to GPS devices, the caskets are being returned to their proper locations, something families are glad to hear.
We are so relieved to know that she's back where, you know, she wanted to be.
Metal ties will now be used to keep the caskets in place in case there's another hurricane.
A mother and her twin sons die in a massive fire near San Antonio. The 31-year-old woman and her 1-year-old twin sons were killed Monday. A wind-fueled fire tore through 5 houses.
The mother and the children were found together, clutched together. And that's what a phenomenal mother she was.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation. A memorial service for the 19 tourists killed in a balloon accident in Egypt today. Mourners stood on the spot where the balloon crashed after catching fire and falling 1,000 feet from the sky. 1 British tourist and the Egyptian pilot survived but were badly burned. Authorities in China bust an attempt at smuggling snakes out of the country. Thousands of snakes, cobras, vipers, and rat snakes, all of them were in a vehicle trying to exit China into Burma at a border crossing. Everything from their skins to their saliva can be sold for a profit by smugglers. Authorities say most of the snakes will be released back into the wild.
It's a rule you're taught at a very young age. You only call 911 in the case of an emergency. But not everyone follows directions. A man in Indiana was arrested last week after police say he called 911 multiple times, asking for a cheeseburger.
911 emergency?
Yes. I disrupted you. You just hung up on me.
Well, I asked if you had emergency. You said no, you needed a cheeseburger, so we don't take cheeseburger orders.
And he called back. Police went to the man's house and arrested him. He does have a criminal record, and it includes at least 13 convictions for public intoxication.
A quiet day for the borderland, finally. It was a little cool, though, but we are seeing a few high clouds streaming in, and that's coming in from the south. Don't expect to see any rain from these, and do expect to see them continue to track on out of the area, leaving us with clear skies tonight. The winds, so pleasant today, down to less than 10 miles per hour all day long. So no real wind chills to contend with, which is nice because it was a little cooler today. It's 49 right now in Las Cruces. We have 53 in El Paso, 51 in Del City, and 48 right now in Alamogordo. Officially at the airport, we were certainly cooler than yesterday by 10 degrees, which means we were below average by far. 66 is the high, the average high, I should say, and 55 was the high today. But we did start with those temperatures right near the freezing mark, and we're in for another very cold night tonight. Plenty of us will see those freezing temperatures, but by tomorrow morning when you head out, you'll feel the chill, and by the afternoon, you'll feel the warmth. That's because we're expecting to see mostly sunny skies, but it will be another cool day for the borderlands, so keep that in mind. And what do I mean by cool? Well, let's start off with tonight. 30 degrees for the overnight low under clear skies and lighter winds, and then tomorrow, right back to the mid-50s, maybe a degree or two warmer than today, but a north wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour is a cool air mass, and we're going to feel it during the day, even though we're going to see plenty of sunshine. 26 tonight for Las Cruces with northeast winds to 10 miles per hour. So a cold night here for the city of Crosses with a cool day tomorrow as well as temperatures warm to the lower to mid 50s. Next couple of days do show breezes return just in time to wrap up the work week. Nothing strong, not much to worry about. Temperatures though come Friday should be a little on the warmer side. Back to the upper 50s in El Paso, mid-50s in Las Cruces, but those overnight temperatures remaining pretty cold. Bottom line is, it is going to be a cold night again tonight, but as we look ahead to the weekend, it is looking great. Temperature-wise, we should be warmer. Unfortunately, the other increase will be winds by Monday. I'll have that in your 5-day forecast with the weekend always in view.
A first in Washington, the woman President Obama says now takes her rightful place in history.
A change of command at Fort Bliss, the exchange next on KFOX 14 News at 5. Coverage you can count on. A change of command ceremony at Fort Bliss today. Sergeant Major Michael Barnes is assuming responsibility for the garrison from Sergeant Major Pandy, who is leaving Fort Bliss to take over the Pacific Region Command at Fort Shafter, Hawaii.
Sergeant Major Barnes has been serving here for the past several months as the Provost Marshal Sergeant Major in charge of military police operations for the installation. He's a military policeman, and he came here from an assignment in Cuba where he was supporting detainee operations.
Colonel Daly says because Barnes has been here for a while now, he is the perfect candidate for the command post.
Retailers sue the city of Austin, saying its plastic bag ban violates Texas law. The new city ordinance is scheduled to take effect this week. The Texas Retailers Association has opposed Austin's new law from the start. The group would rather see the city push to recycle the bags instead of banning them.
Our view is that plastic bags need to be managed like any other post-consumer product. So there's ways to manage this issue in an environmentally sensible way.
The bag ban is aimed at reducing trash, and a look at most empty lots around Austin on a windy day shows plastic bags blowing everywhere. The lawsuit will likely delay the ordinance taking effect until a judge makes a ruling.
Civil rights icon Rosa Parks now has a statue in the U.S. Capitol. Parks made history with her refusal to give up her bus seat to a white man in Alabama in 1955. Her arrest touched off a year-long bus boycott protesting racial segregation.
Rosa Parks held no elected office. She possessed no fortune, lived her life far from the formal seats of power. And yet today she takes her rightful place among those who've shaped this nation's course.
Parks is now the first black woman honored with a full-length statue in the Capitol.
We have an update on this evening's top stories next on KFOX 14 News at 5.
The director of an anger management program contacts KFOX 14 to find out why she blames the court system for a murder that happened this weekend.
An international pop star's Twitter account gets bombarded by local residents, how they're rallying to pay tribute to a Horizon City girl.
We have another cool day on our hands for tomorrow, but a warmer weekend ahead. That's in your 5-day forecast for the weekend, always in view, next on KFOX 14 News at 5. Temperatures will gradually warm as we make our way back to the weekend. Eventually, we'll see highs near 70 come Sunday. And unfortunately, the winds increase by Monday with some patchy dust, but look at those temperatures Monday afternoon, reaching the mid-70s.
If you're just joining us, we have this evening's top stories starting right now.
A woman contacts KFOX 14 insisting that the court system has blood on its hands over a woman who was stabbed to death over the weekend.
KFOX 14 News at 5's Bill Malugian is in downtown El Paso to tell us why.
We spoke to Laura Lopez, a woman who runs one of the anger management programs approved by county commissioners. Lopez tells us that alleged murderer Jesse Vasquez went to an anger management program that simply doesn't work, is only 1 day long, and was never approved by county commissioners. An official from the West Texas Community Supervision and Corrections Department tells me they will look into the program's curriculum to see if it adheres to qualifications. Veronica?
Eastlake High School students look to pop star Justin Bieber to help them pay tribute to a Horizon teen, Jacqueline Trejo. So they took to Twitter to ask the pop star to sing a song in her honor. Now, this is a picture of Jackie, who recently lost her battle to a blood disease, aplastic anemia, just last week. Her family is still in Laredo wrapping up funeral services. They say the news of their friends' efforts to reach out to the pop star on Twitter makes them feel so good, knowing that so many friends cared for her. You can help too by tweeting hashtag Justin Sing for Jacqueline. John?
Here's what you'll see tonight on KFOX 14 News at 9.
I'm Scott McFarland. A KFOX investigation of the U.S. Postal Service getting some new attention in Washington. A congressional hearing into what we found. The story tonight.
People's most private moments put on video. The New Mexico insurance man accused of installing a camera in his employee's restroom tonight at 9. And that's it for KFOX 14 News at 5. I'm John Purvis.
I'm Erica Castillo. We'll see you again when news breaks, and tonight at 9.